Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of PKM Weekly. So here we are in October already, but there we go. So let's see what's been in store for us for the past week. Obsidian, they're up first, version 1.10. So that's been released to the insiders only for the time being, and that includes the toggle has changed slightly, or the commands for the light mode and dark mode, and they've been replaced with a toggle. So just be sure to update the hotkeys if you haven't already done so. Lots of improvements and features to the bases. Plugin that's been added. The group by has also been made available, and now you've also got the sort as well as table summaries and lots of other things as well, which you can see here in the full changelog, that you can see the whole thing that's been added, new and improved, as well as some different hotkeys and everything else. So lots of updates that have been released in the version 1.10. So be sure to update your Obsidian if you haven't already done so. And on that note, if you want an updated or a video of
hello everyone,
check out Anton's video, who talks us through the version 1.10 with the various different changes and what they all mean. So that was it for that one. Obsidian have also announced Obsidian October is back. So every October the community gets together on themes, plugins, vaults, videos, etc, etc. And there's going to be an office hours on Discord to help you polish your creations. So if you are wanting to create something for Obsidian, definitely check this post out by the team, which is just a few days old, and you can see if you want some plugins, some themes, some vaults, or try something new with bases, definitely have a look into this, as it's always a great event to take part of. And another one was Kindle library to Obsidian. So if you want to import your Kindle library into your Obsidian Vault, you can do that and then organize it with Claude Code. So RF, thank you very much for the short step-by-step guide of how you can achieve it. You can see here 5-6 steps, the various different keys and commands that you need to run, or the settings that you need to do. And then you can achieve something that looks like this, so that you've got your Kindle library basically in your Obsidian Vault. And you can find it here with a short video and a step-by-step guide. So thank you very much, RF, for that one. And then another one was, if you're still using the default file view in Obsidian, maybe it's worth just to have a bit of an upgrade. And definitely do check this video out, because it's a walkthrough on the Notebook Navigator, and it just splices up the Obsidian Vault layout and the look of it, just to have a little bit more aesthetics, so that you can enjoy writing in it, maybe a little bit more. So it's a short video, 1 or 2 plugins that are needed, and the Notebook Navigator plugin, which I use quite often, is always updated very regularly. So lots of good things coming out of that one. So do definitely check this one out if you want to spice up your Obsidian Vault. And last up was a couple of interesting Reddit posts. One of them was Obsidian Hype. So OP wrote that they were one of the main or first users of Obsidian back 5 years ago. They contributed many bugs, fixes, etc, but they find Obsidian has become a bit of a monster at the moment, and they don't even like to update the software. So if you are in the same boat, or you're feeling the same, definitely do check this post out, because they do go through some of the details and some of the thoughts and feelings that they have, and there are a number of comments and responses on it. So definitely worthwhile having a look at that one. And this one was how Obsidian helps me be a better friend and family member. So basically using Obsidian as a bit of a contact repository. And in the post, they talk us through what they do, contact notes, meeting notes, the base magic. They explain why they do it, how they do it, and then here you've got the full-on layout that OP uses. So if you want to be a better friend or a better family member and be more in touch with your contacts, this is one definitely to check out. Capacities, they've launched a Readwise integration. It is only for the Capacities believer at this stage, and it was one of the most requested features for quite a while, and now they're very pleased to say that it is released. It is in beta, so do just keep that in mind when you're using it. And they do even ask for some feedback, so currently in beta, please use it for testing, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedbacks on it. And you can see what you can do, how you can get it to work. You do need to be an Capacities believer, and you can find it here in full of how you can get it set up. From what I've seen in the Discord, it is very well received, so that's a good thing from the team, and I'm sure it's going to only improve as they develop it more and more. And on top of that, on top of the Readwise integration, they've introduced a few new things. Better dark mode, so they've reworked the color palette just to align with light and dark modes. Faster loading and better loading. So they've reworked large parts of how the content is loaded and downloaded and processed on the device, so it should make things a lot quicker and smoother to use. And automated conflict check when you're working across devices, so better conflict resolution. And you can check all these out in the changelog, which has been posted to the Capacities page with a bit more of a description of what's been going on. So that was that. Tana, they've released a few updates, so now you can retranscribe from the audio recording. So if your transcripts dropped or the network drops or you use a different language or you want to reprocess the transcript, you can now retranscribe that. They've also enabled Google Play billing, so that's now live for Android so that we can use it a lot smoother, and it's all through the Google Play app, which is a lot easier. Google Calendar now fetches 2,500 events instead of 200. Not too sure what that really means, but I guess you now can import more events from Google to your Tana workspace, and they fixed a node bullet loading indicator. There was a few other things as well that have been released and fixed that you can find in the changelog as usual. They've also got a live build session, so the conference connector. So people attend conferences, get a flood of ideas, and then contacts as well, and then inevitably. So then they've also got the Tana live build, which is the conference connector. So we typically attend conferences, meetups, get contacts, and then inevitably these just fall to the wayside. So Mark, part of the team, is going to build a system live showing techniques for turning your conference notes and recordings into something actually useful and meaningful. So that's going to look at quick capture, synthesize them, and share your takeaways. And it's going to take place next Wednesday at 8 p.m, 1 p.m. Central European time. And as usual, sign up through the Google Meet here. And it's a start from scratch. So Mark starts from a fresh Tana workspace and builds it live in front of everyone's eyes. So a great concept for that one. So definitely do check that one out. And then Tana, they've also got a couple of coffee meetups planned in the Bay Area, not the Bay Area, which I will fix, in California. So 2 meetups with Olav, Theo, and Brage. They're going to be in the Bay Area. They're going to be UC Berkeley on Friday the 10th of October, and in San Francisco at some other coffee place on Thursday the 16th of October. So again, they do ask that you do RSVP if you want to attend. And so just put your name down and bring your laptop, build, study, listen, annoy them, whatever. They're more than happy to meet up with you. Logseq, they've now added a few things. So background cloud sync for mobile app. So this should enable reliable background syncing. So improve data consistency and user experience through a few different things that they've got going on. They've also now got mobile record and transcribe, which they've posted a quick demo here on GitHub, which that does not work. So here you can see it. They're recording the voice, and it basically then transcribes whatever is being said in the recording. So that's great. So we're seeing a lot more voice-to-text features in various different PKM apps, which is good to see. They've also enhanced the PDF reading experience, so zoom in and zoom out skill, that's going to be saved for when you next open the same file, prevent zoom level reset, support zoom in, zoom out, etc., etc. So a few things just to make PDF reading experience a lot smoother. And then there was a post of, would you suggest Logseq for academic writing? So I'm in a rabbit hole to find the most suitable app for my needs, and before I invest time, I want to see if Logseq is worth it. And they asked the question, and there's various different responses from users across the board. So if you are in the same boat, please do have a read of this one, because it might help you on your journey. Roam Research, which is one that hasn't been around with many updates of late, or that I've not posted of late. They've got now a slick PDF annotator, so you can highlight text, turn it into a block, add text tags, and switch views to match your flow. So you can see here, brief demo, highlighting some text, putting some notes to it. That goes into a bullet point already, and then it stores it there in a similar way that Logseq does with their own PDF annotation. And you can do various different things with it. So a very welcome addition to Roam Research. One of the comments that I did see was, is Roam Research still even around? And yes, they definitely are live and kicking with some great updates. AppFlowy, they've released version 0.10, and that includes for the desktop, a person, a new database property, so that now you can assign a row to one or more collaborators, various different mobile updates as well, iOS share to AppFlowy, Android share to AppFlowy, new Android widget, and the same database property for the persons that have been implemented for the desktop. And coming up soon, or in the next releases, is going to be improved editor code block, page version history, and push notifications on the mobile. So some great stuff coming out from AppFlowy, so some definitely worthwhile keeping a look at that one. Heptabase, not quite an update as such in terms of Heptabase, but Alan, one of the founders, or the founder I should say, he's had a lot of messages about why are all of the releases AI related of late, and are you not going too much into the AI world? And he just wanted to share his thoughts of why they're doing this and how. So this is a great article, definitely worthwhile reading, of Alan's thoughts and backgrounds and thinking and the way forward that he sees it. So if you are one of the people that are thinking why has Heptabase just done AI features of late, this may be an article for you that you can read just to get a bit more sense of why they're doing it. Noteey, they've got a version 1.33, I think it was, that was released. So a few things that have been updated, linked to web pages, copy references and paste links. And as usual, there is the video, and this one is actually a video on deep linking tutorial of how you can do deep linking within Noteey in a nice and easy way. So worthwhile having a look at that one. And then the next version will be huge with properties and tag database. So keep a lookout for that one. I'm not too sure exactly what it means, but we shall soon find out in the next version release. So looking forward to that one. And another article, so not really an app, but it was a great article that I thought was worthwhile sharing. So the fundamental reason people struggle with PKM, and the article looks at it's not the wrong app, but it's maybe a lack of a clear framework and what you're actually wanting to achieve with your PKM, as opposed to just using it as a dumping ground for all sorts of notes, which is just as fine if that's what you want to do. But if you want to maybe get something more out of it, then definitely worthwhile checking this article out by Augustine, who goes through the background, some details, the mysterious enemy, why people leave Obsidian, some comments of that he's come across of what people are saying, why I'm switching from Capacities to Obsidian is the structure, and it just goes down into the really nitty-gritty of the PKM world and his conclusions. So well worthwhile having a look at this article from Augustine on the reasons people struggle with PKM. So that was it for this week. So thank you very much for being here, and I shall see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.